Termites. It's night 7. How's everybody doing? You hanging in there? What are we drinking? A little Gentleman Jack in honor of my neighbor. That's what he likes to drink. I can't drink as much of it as him. Not even a fourth of it. It's not really my thing. But you got to switch it up, especially if you're still, hanging out, not really going to bars, as I would call them, bars, meaning bars, not like a hotel bar. It's not like a bar. You know what I mean? This book is getting good, and I love my paper doll Liberace collection. Here's the quote for this one. Your 25th college reunion, outpatient procedure, $900. Inpatient procedure, $3,700. Squeezing into your college graduation outfit, priceless. This is what he wore. Looks like if Elvis had gone super flamboyant. It's not my favorite, but I like it. We're going to put him right here. See if he'll stand. Nope. Too top heavy. Here, let's see if I can get him to stand now. Let's get back into it. I'm so disappointed he didn't take the gig, but look at him believing in himself when he doesn't have any money. I don't know if I would have had the guts to do that. You can always call me Lee. That's where we ended. The single billing didn't help at all. Liberace felt the need to escape the disappointment of New York, and he remembered a friendly face from a Boston engagement. He was warm, outgoing Clarence Goodwin, a shoe manufacturer from California, attending a convention. Goodwin had said, if you ever come to Los Angeles, look me up. Liberace did, and he stayed with Goodwin and his wife for a year. Oh my God, how big is their house? Ooh, let somebody stay for a year. Wow. I mean, unless you had a guest house, that's a lot. He just went straight to L.A. Unbelievable. Good for him. Clarence Goodwin realized the young pianist was at loose ends and needed the comfort and security of someone's home. Oh, you have a rare talent, the shoe man insisted, but what you need is a good manager. I'll do the job for you. He's a shoe guy. I don't know. To Liberace's astonishment, Goodwin declined the offers MCA forwarded from New York. You're worth more than that, Goodwin reasoned. The more hard to get you are, the more they'll want you. Yeah, sometimes. Sometimes they just don't give a shit. Goodwin was a member of the Lakeside, I've played here, golf club. Mr. Ron White took me there. And I did a Kevin Nealon melanoma charity deal there. It's nice. It's nice. Took Liberace to lunch, introducing him to Bing Crosby, Don Amici, Bob Hope, and other golfers. Liberace recounted such experiences in breathless letters to Mom. One of Liberace's favorite places to visit was the Hollywood Piano Exchange. It was like any other piano store because it catered to the movie studios needed for instruments of every era. Well, I wonder if his dad's French horn was in there. One of the store's pianos bewitched him. It was the biggest he'd ever seen, covered in gold, even the stool. He looked inside the lid and saw 4 wires for every note instead of the usual 3. The hammers were oversized, and when he struck a chord, the sound resonated almost like an organ in a cathedral. A salesman related the history of the piano. It had been one of the pair handcrafted before World War II by the famed piano maker Julius Bluthner. Its mate had reportedly been destroyed by Allied bombings. When Liberace raved about the Bluthner to Goodwin that evening, the host replied, "Then you must have it." The piano appeared in the Goodwin living room the next day, and Liberace couldn't believe it. Who is this guy? Who does this? What a nice person. You can pay me for it out of your earnings. And with a piano like this, we'll have to demand more salary. Oh, my God. Liberace remained in Los Angeles at a time when the aircraft and movie factories were pouring out products for the war effort. Nightlife was booming. War workers with stuffed pockets and servicemen found their way to the Pacific to demand entertainment. Walter found works in clubs and bars in Hollywood and Long Beach. He also found compliant young men, both in and out of uniform, in search of an evening's pleasure. Good for him. Chapter 3, page 36. Making it in the big time. Adventures with Bugsy Siegel, Howard Hughes, and Harry Truman. After a year in California, Liberace decided it was time to return to New York and make his bid for the big time. Oh. He realized he needed a gimmick to differentiate himself from the scores of other cafe pianists. One day it came to him, why not play duets with the masters? He brought records by Paderewski, Arthur Rubinstein, Egon Petrie, Jose Iturbi, Vladimir Horowitz, and other playing familiar concertos and solo pieces. Working 12 hours a day for weeks, Liberace accompanied the recordings, perfecting his fingerwork until it completely coincided precisely with the music he heard. He truncated the numbers so they would intrigue his listeners but not bore them. That's keep it tight. Good idea. To be effective, the music had to resemble live sound. He devised a system of speakers that could be placed around the nightclub room so that the sound would envelop the audience. Liberace convinced the operators of the Persian Room to audition his new act. They were impressed, and they agreed to book him following Hildegard at a salary of $900 a week. What? His highest salary before that had been $500 a week. A visiting and everlasting element was added to Liberace's act for the Plaza engagement. Liberace had thrilled over a song to remember when he saw it at a movie theater on Broadway. The affair of Frédéric Chopin and George Sand had moved him to tears, and he'd been overwhelmed by the piano work recorded by Jose Iturbi. Liberace was impressed by the candelabra on the piano whenever wild pantomime to Iturbi's playing. It seemed to create a mood of romance, romantic elegance, exactly what Liberace was seeking. Just as that's what I'm seeking, but Amazon can't get that shit here, because there's ass and shit. Everything's just spinning out of control. Nobody cares. It seemed to create just as important. It could be used at the beginning of the act to quiet the audience and create an air of anticipation. One July night in 1945, a stagehand in a butler's costume carried a lighted candelabra into the Plaza's Persian Room and placed it atop a grand piano. An offstage voice introduced the sensational new piano virtuoso Liberace. He strode on the stage in white tie and tails, his wide smile exuding total confidence. Liberace acknowledged the applause and sat down to play. With breathtaking pace, he raced through 12th Street Rag and Boogie Woogie. He played duets with Jesus Santaroma and the Boston Pops Orchestra recording of Rhapsody in Blue, and with Vladimir Horowitz's rendition of Tchaikovsky's B minor, which had been popularized as the song Tonight We Love. Oh, I like that it's a command. Tonight We Love. He gave chatty introductions to each number, invited a woman patron to join him in a duet, and then she admitted she couldn't play. He provided a florid accompaniment to her chopsticks. Chopsticks meaning, yeah. He played a Beethoven sonata and a Chopin nocturne, and I'm sure I'm not saying any of this right, and concluded with a thumping version of the Andrews Sisters hit, Beer Barrel Polka. The Andrews Sisters, wow. The sophisticated New York audience clamored for an encore, but Liberace politely declined, because what did he learn? Leave them wanting more. He retired to his dressing room, supremely confident that he at last found his show business niche. The reviews reflected his feeling. For the first time, he was recognized in a new act review in Variety. Abel Green, the editor of the show business paper, declared Liberace brings a nice style to big league circuits with his legit and synchronized piano recitals. Green added, Liberace looks like a cross between Cary Grant and Robert Alda, who plays Gershwin in the Warner picture Rhapsody in Blue, starring Robert Alda, Alan Alda's father. Wow. I didn't know his dad was famous. Good for him. Good for you. As my good friend Rocky Laporte, the comedian, would say, good for you. He has a fetching manner on the floor, attractive hands, which he spotlights properly. Who looks at... Everybody's hands are fine, right? Unless they're super mangled. I wouldn't even notice people's hands. attractive hands, which she spotlights properly, and withal rings the bell in a dramatically lighted, well-presented, showmanly routine. Oh, he should snowball into a box office, which at the moment he's not, but definitely a Boff Cafe act. B-O-F-F. Boff? 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 If anything, this book is teaching me, it's that I can't read. But that's fine. I get it. The successful opening at the Plaza brought a host of happy results. Fritz Mahler, conductor of the New Jersey Symphony, invited a young pianist to play a Liszt concerto. Or is it concerto? Concerto. Mahler was pleased with the results, and he asked, "Do you play the Rhapsody in Blue?" "Oh, yes," Liberace said eagerly. "Good. Morton Gold is looking for a soloist on his radio show." "What? Radio?" Liberace gulped. He offered an abbreviated version of the Gershwin's Rhapsody in Act, but he had never learned the entire piece. Oh! You know what? Who said it, though? Somebody famous. Tell him you know how and then learn how to do it. It's a famous quote. It was a woman. At least that's who I remember it being attributed to. Just say yes and learn how to do it. I don't know. I'll remember. He bought the sheet music and was astounded to see that it was 37 pages long. Oh, my God. By rehearsing 10 hours a day for 4 days, he was able to audition favorably for Gould, and the broadcast was well received. Wow, that is quite a lie to get yourself in. Oh, yeah, I know that song. No problem. Fucking 37 pages. Wow. The new attraction at the Plaza was being noticed by everyone. Liberace observed that every night at the Late Show, a small, mysterious-looking woman appeared at a back table. He found out who she was. Elizabeth Bergman, a Polish protege of Max Reinhardt, who was starring on Broadway in The Two Mrs. Carols. One night, Liberace sought her out, and she told him why she came nightly to the Persian room. "Your music and these dimly lit surroundings are perfect for me after the theater. I can relax here as nowhere else. You play the music exactly as I want it." Oh. When the Persian room engagement came to an end, MCA sent Liberace on a tour to the best hotel showrooms in the East and the Midwest and into Canada. In Minneapolis, he attracted the attention of symphony conductor Dmitri Mitriopoulos. "I like your boogie woogie," the maestro told him, "and by all means, you must continue playing it." In Montreal, I've worked in Montreal, that famous theater. I won't be able to think of the name of. Super famous, super pretty, super old. It'll come to me. In Montreal, which, by the way, is a great city. It's like the Palace des Arts. Yeah, that's probably it. I always tell Midwest people, I didn't think about it till I worked there. I told my sister, her and her friends wanted to go somewhere. I said, go to Montreal. It's like going to Europe without having to go to Europe. If you don't have the time to go to Europe or you don't have the money to go to Europe, go to Montreal. You feel like you're in Europe. Feels like France. The old town, the old city, it's really cool. A lot of history. And there's a super, super beautiful church there. And I don't want to brag, but I took the tour, and guess who got married there? Celine Dion. What? I think Wayne Gretzky, too. That's who they started mentioning. I'm like, there has to be. I mean, those people are very famous, but I bet people have, not Wayne, but I don't know. Just seemed weird to throw those names out in the beginning. Anyway, from the Midwest, it takes 2 hours on a plane. Boom, you're in Montreal. It's a great city. Totally, the food's great. I'm not even a foodie, but Lou is, and we've had nothing but fun there. Anyway, moving on. In Montreal, a guest at the Liberace performance. Oh wait, I read that. He compared. Okay, Liberace's travels returned to him to Milwaukee, where he was treated as a hometown boy of growing celebrity. His mother was in the front row of the Pabst Theater for a sold-out concert. He's already selling out the Pabst. That's a big theater. That's not easy to do. And Liberace was increasingly employed in an increasing number of tricks to captivate the audience. While complimentary in his review, the journal's Richard S. Davis noted that the young pianist has turned his back on the concert platform and gone swaggering into nightclubs. Wow. What do you got to do what you got to do? What do you want the guy to do? You got to make money. Friday night at the Pabst. The suave exponent of zip, sparkle, and what is called schmaltz. Oh, that's not a compliment. In pianism, gave a packed house the time of its life. He played the classics and played them well. He did amazing stunts with popular music. He pounded away at boogie woogie. He even tried a bit of singing with his pale little voice. The critic changed his tone. The critic tone had changed in his native city. No more the proud boost for the Milwaukee Youth of Promise. The boy who had played Litz with the Chicago Symphony had joined forces with the Tin Pan Alley. He couldn't be taken seriously anymore. Oh my God, how harsh. I mean, you got to make people happy. You know, that's not hacking it out. He's entertaining people. That's what you get. That's why you make money. People are so nitpicky. During the wars, Liberace heard from other performers about the gold to be found in Las Vegas. There were only two show places, the Last Frontier and the El Rancho Vegas, both on a barren stretch of land outside the city, and they paid high salaries for entertainers who could appeal to the ranchers, cross-country tourists, and the hard-bitten gamblers who patronized the dusty town that seemed a remnant of the Wild West, misplaced in time. Liberace learned a trick from Sophie Tucker. At every new engagement, she sent handwritten penny postcards to the talent buyers, members of the press, and other of influence in all parts of the country. Liberace did the same, mailing scores of postcards declaring sold out every night here at the Statler in Boston, or the Edgewater in Chicago wants me to hold over for 2 more weeks. The cards were always signed Liberace. Liberace. I don't know why they put the pronunciation now. I've been saying it the whole time. The campaign succeeded. Maxine Lewis, entertainment director of the Last Frontier Hotel in Las Vegas, called Liberace while he was appearing at the Mount Royal Hotel in Montreal. How'd you like to play Vegas? That's how I just made up my mind that she talks. Hey, buddy, how'd you like to play Las Vegas? She asked. I would love to, replied the excited Liberace. How much are you getting paid? $750 a week, he lied. His salary at the Mount Royal was $350 a week plus room and board. Well, if it's French food in Montreal, it's probably worth the other $450. That's fine, Miss Lewis replied. Boom, he just got himself a huge raise. Good job. Go for you. Go for you. After appearing in some of the most sophisticated supper clubs in the country, Liberace was shocked by the Ramona Room of the Last Frontiers. The chandeliers were wagon wheels mounted with replicas of kerosene lamps. Yeah, you're going into Wild West shit now. The waitresses wore low-cut gingham blouses, short leather skirts, and cowboy hats. The show floor was scarcely large enough to accommodate a grand piano, and there was no backstage. Okay, that sucks. Entertainers had to make their entrances through the tables. Well, I don't know. You just kind of hang out in back, which just kind of sucks because there's never anywhere to sit if it's crowded. On opening night, Liberace gazed over his shirt-sleeved audience and decided to forgo much of his long hair repertoire. He concentrated on boogie woogie, beer barrel polka, and other crowd pleasers. The ovation was enthusiastic, punctuated by cowboy yells. Yeehaw! And he returned to his room confident that he could succeed at the Ramona Room in Las Vegas as well as the Persian Room in New York. Good for him. You know, you got to be able to do everything. You can't just be this snobby person, and you can't be a total hack. Good for you, as Rocky Laporte would say. All right, termites. Getting closer to March. That's exciting. Because March means April, and April means May. We know how that goes. Springtime. Shots for everybody. Alcoholic and medicinal. Shots for everybody. Are you warm, termite? Are you a good termite? Yes, you are. Are you a nice termite? Are you a polite termite? Get cozy. Close your eyes. Are you ready? Night-night, termites.